Carolyn Dubie here. What's inspiring me today? Social media. When I go through and see all the pictures on Instagram or Pinterest or Facebook or Google Plus or even Twitter, I get inspired. And today I was feeling a little uninspired. As I looked at my art journal, I thought, well, what am I going to do? And rather than kind of sit with that feeling, I decided I'm going to turn to social media to get me out of that rut, to get me making something. The hardest part for me is getting started. And that's where my friends through social media gave me a big boost. They don't even know that they were helping me, but they really were. What I did is I scrolled through until I found something that grabbed my attention. For whatever reason it grabs my attention, I'm going to take a piece of that, whatever sparked me, and then somehow interpret that into my art journal. And I did that through a couple of different things, and I'll show you the pictures that inspired me and what I did. And at some point, I started to be on my own. So the creative juices were running. I was picking paints and colors all on my own without thinking too much. And that's when I was super happy and getting in the play with the art journaling. Well, you want to see how I use the social media? Come take a look. Well, this is the page I'm going to start with. I did it who knows when, with what kind of inks. I don't know if they're going to react or not. I'm going to live on the edge and start with this one. Then I went and turned to Facebook, and as I scrolled through looking at the pictures and posts, this one by Corinne absolutely jumped out at me, and the keyhole was a nice simple shape that I could use and duplicate, so I'm starting with that. So now time to draw that very complex shape, the keyhole. I'm grabbing a black Krink paint stick crayon thing. When this thing dries, and it doesn't take very long, it dries as paint, so it's not going to smear, it's not going to run. But now what am I going to do? I've got that. So I turned this time to Instagram to help give me some inspiration of where to go next. As I was looking through the feed, I saw this picture from Ray, and the pink on that brush just jumped out at me, made me so happy. So I decided I need to get some bright pink onto this page. Well, the black from the Krink is already dry, and I thought about painting over that, but then I changed my mind. I'm going to put the pink all around the edges and here and there. And just so you know, if you want to find any of the different social media things that I'm talking about, I have links to everything over on my blog at acolorfuljourney.com or down below in the video description. And I couldn't decide what to do next, so I decided to head over to Google Plus to a community that I've got called the Colorful Playground. And here Lori's got some number stamps that she's carved, and she's done a cool job carving all sorts of stamps and been sharing them with us. So I decided I'm going to add some numbers. Now I'm not going to carve them because I'm way too impatient today, but I'm going to grab some number stamps. So as I'm putting these stamps down on the page using some archival ink, and I'm using archival just so it won't smear because I don't know what I'm going to do after this. I'm thinking very carefully, like I'm really seriously thinking about how I need to line these up, and is this exactly where I want it? And I find that absolutely laughable because I don't really know what I'm doing with this page or what it's going to become. So yeah, sometimes I just have to laugh at myself. But as much as I was laughing at myself about it, I still didn't know what to do next. So for this one, I turned to Pinterest, and Margie's art journal page helped me out with this. She has some rulers or numbers kind of built into the background, and I really like the look of the ruler, so I'm going to use that for my inspiration, and I'm going to go dig around in my stuff and see what I can't find that has a ruler on it. Well, what did I find? I found a rubber stamp, and now I am just going to stamp that in random places. Well, about here is when the art journal page started to come together for me. I began to sort of feel what to do next. So that's code for I got out of my head and I was actually in full play mode now. My thinking brain was kind of turned off and I was just kind of acting impulsively. So I'm playing with some Dylusions paints and I'm just kind of horsing around. Things aren't going to go perfectly and that's not going to bother me. That yellow that I put on the keyhole, yeah, it's not going to last very long. Wiped some of it off, still didn't really like it. Still didn't like it at this point, but you know what? We'll just call it an oops, an outstanding opportunity presenting suddenly. And I'm just having fun playing and exploring. And even though I'm having fun, I will say that there are parts of this art journal page that I really, really don't like. To me, it just hasn't hit its stride yet. But that doesn't mean I'm not enjoying the play. Well, now it's time to try and cover up that keyhole yet again. So putting some white paint on top of it. And you know what? Not really liking that either. Oops, number whatever for that keyhole. But that's okay. Again, it's going to be an opportunity. and it's going to present itself really quickly because I'm going to grab a rubber stamp. Since that is a keyhole, I decided to grab a key rubber stamp. Well, and after doing this to the keyhole, guess what? I still don't like it. So I'm going to try something different. Right on top of the keyhole, it's very hard to see, I actually have a stencil on there. So grabbing some of those Dylusions paints, I am just going to stencil around that, and my keyhole is actually going to disappear. It's going to become the world thanks to Mary Nassar's It's a Small World stencil. And if you're enjoying this video, I would love it if you gave it a thumbs up. And with all the social media that we're talking about, feel free to share this video on any social media that you enjoy. And I'd also love if you stopped by and said hi to me on Instagram, Facebook, Google+, Pinterest, any of those places. Well, now I need to get my hands in the paint. There is something for me about actually getting paint onto my fingers. As I'm covering up the bottom part of that keyhole, I just couldn't control myself and ended up taking that yellow farther and farther around the page. And you know what? That keyhole might be hidden, but I sure did need that to get me started and moving. So a super thank you to Corrine for that first jump start for this art journal page. Well, let's get some more stenciling on here. This one's using one of Ray's stencils called Rows of Triangles. And you know what? Even if I can't make up my mind, it doesn't matter because I'm just having fun playing around in my art journal. I was feeling the urge to write on my art journal page, but instead of writing, I ended up tracing around a bunch of the triangles. And that made me happy, and I'm playing around, so I'm going to go with that. But for me, there usually has to be some kind of writing on my art journal page. But I couldn't quite figure out where I was going to put it because I was really happy with how this art journal page looked already. My solution was to use a pencil. This is a green colored pencil that pretty much blends right into the background. You can barely see what it is I'm writing, but this way I'm journaling out some of my feelings and I'm getting them onto the art journal page to kind of capture all that feeling that I've got right now. But I'm not going to mess up the visual with anything because I'm really happy with how the colors and the play all came together. Well, thanks for joining me for some play inspired by social media. Want to play along? Want to be a part of this? Well, come and join me over on social media. You can find direct links to all of those down below in the description on the video or over on my blog at A Colorful Journey. Thanks for being a part of this colorful journey.